Well, welcome everybody. This is the Real Estate Focus Group. We meet here every other Tuesday, although it's Wednesday this time, at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. I'm Chuck Vosberg, along with my lovely wife, Pat. We're your friends in Florida, and we've got an awesome guest today. I can't wait to hear what Anthony has to say. Pat, you want to introduce Anthony?
Sure. Anthony was an NFL wide receiver with Washington, as well as Miami Dolphins and Dallas Cowboys.
Wow.
And there's a story there from transitioning from being so well known and, in the limelight to just becoming a realtor. And he's been a realtor for 12 years. And he's a full-time realtor, besides being also a full-time dad. And he also does fitness training. Is that correct? Fitness training? Is that what I'd say?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's married and he's got four kids ranging in age from 2 to 8 years old. And his wife, Jessica, is a full-time TV professional who is involved in sports with the Mavericks. And one of the things that interested with me with Anthony is that he told me he had no ties to real estate, and I did want to talk about that and how you got involved in real estate.
Appreciate y'all having me. And everybody, hey, good to see you. How I got into real estate, I was sitting at the house, sitting there licking my wounds from being cut from NFL teams, and I needed something to do. And I was watching, those fix and flip shows. And 30 minutes, they buy a house, they flip it, and they sell it. I'm like, all right, I want to do one of those. And I started to get the learning about the process, and they were like, you need a lender, and you need a title company and a contractor and all this. And I was like, I don't know any of those people, but this realtor person, they seem to know all of it. So I'll just get that. I can learn real estate from inside and then go from there. But yeah, I've been doing the real estate for 12 years now. So I still got to get the investment property thing down. Haven't done that yet for myself, but maybe this is the year. But that's how I'm here. I've been here for 12 years. I love the coaching and the educating my clients part of it. That's been really fulfilling, especially with what real estate can do for a family and how it can change your trajectory, change how a kid grows up. It's a pretty important position, so I take pride in that.
And did you grow up with around people who were successful in real estate, like your family? Did they own a house? Did you come from that kind of background where your family showed you how real estate could, give you generational wealth? Anything like that?
No, no, nothing
No.
like that. No, no education that way. I knew that we lived in the house that we was in Carrollton and we owned it, but didn't really know anything about the appreciation and how this could will grow into something more valuable down the line with equity and all those things. It was just my mom's single mom, and my dad passed when I was 6 years old, so
Wow.
she was raising three kids, and it was like you kind of got to take care of the crib. And I was fortunate enough to have one place to grow up in, so home is a big thing for me. So when people are choosing homes, I'm trying to help them consider how are you going to use it and what is your overall plan with it, because I don't want them to make a mistake in that. So home's very important. You want to make sure that you pick the right place and make sure you get the right spot for you.
Sure. One thing you did tell me was that you started out with a small brokerage, and what was that experience like for you?
It was good. It was a nice brokerage. It was enough to where you could still see your broker and communicate with them. Didn't feel like just one small number inside of a big, mega business center or anything like that. Nothing against those different models. I interviewed with them. Just that didn't give the same feeling that I was looking for. I guess coming from the locker room and the camaraderie that you have being on a team and being in the locker room. I use the analogy, Pat, of, if you want to increase your hydration, you'll drink from a gallon of water. You get the biggest jug you can, and your goal is to finish it in a day. That's kind of like when you're in the locker room, you got all the feelings. You got the brotherhood, you got the competition, you got all these feelings in one place. But then when you get away from playing the game, you don't get all of that in one spot. You get a little bit from here, a little bit from there. And in that smaller brokerage, it kind of gave me some more of that, teammate camaraderie feel. You go to the brokerage, you go to the office, and it was like, all right, I feel like I'm around my teammates again. We can kind of, mastermind with each other, push each other to do better. but then also know we all want everybody to succeed at the end of the day. So that's what that vibe was like for me, and that's kind of what I like about Next Home. It's just that's that same type of connection that you have with your other associates and other agents.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely humans over houses, as you know, and it's definitely, all of us just trying to help each other and really be loving towards each other. That's kind of the way I feel Next Home is. And I know you've been with Next Home for about 6 years. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it's kind of flown by. I just remember I took a phone call one day, and I liked what I heard, and I was like, "Ooh, orange," and ooh, doggy. So I was like, "I'm gonna jump over there." But no, I came over here, and I've been happy about it, and I'm still here, and don't plan on leaving anytime soon.
Good. And I know you have two offices there. One is in Frisco and one is in Mansfield. How far away are those offices?
A long way. Now,
A
mind
long
you, I got to
way.
say, it's not my office. It's not my office. That's Kim Pratt. Kim
Yes,
Pratt
I
is the
know. Yeah,
broker.
she's on
Yeah.
she's on the
So
call. Yeah.
I just want to make sure. Don't want anybody to think that those are mine.
Right,
I'm in
right,
the
right.
Frisco office, up there and near the Star, up near the Cowboys, and then Mansfield's a good hour solid, maybe a little bit longer depending on
Okay.
traffic, but it's down south. So the great part is that they can cover everything that's south in Arlington and Mansfield and Fort Worth and whatnot, and then
Sure.
I can handle the stuff up north. So it's good to have a connection over there. I've done business on that side of town before, which isn't a problem. It's just gas prices are high. And if
Yes.
we can kind of have a little, hey, Colette, help me out right quick. You said, I got you. You know what I mean? I'll shoot you some gas money and we can kind of help everybody can, grow our sphere, if you will, by having some people we can refer to.
So I've got a follow-up question on that. You mentioned one of the offices is near Fort Worth, and for anybody that's not familiar with the geography around your area, uh, are there any larger cities that your other office is near that we may have no?
Man, let's see. Dallas is a sprawling metropolis, and y'all gonna make me draw we're gonna test what is it, my
No, no,
geography
that's
for
okay.
you.
We can.
No, you good, man. We got an hour. We're gonna be here anyway. So Fort Worth is this big circle over here. Dallas is a bigger circle. I remember this because we did it it kind of looked like a racetrack or a race car. Here in the middle, Arlington. So over here is Dallas, right? This is DFW. Frisco, this is up here in Denton. Frisco and McKinney is like right here. Mansfield's like down this way. This is Fort Worth. So if you want to go see like real cowboys and stuff, you go to Fort Worth. If
Mm,
you want to see some city cowboys, you go to Dallas. Right? If you want to see the Dallas Cowboys, you go to Arlington. They're right here in the middle. Also the Texas Rangers and everything. So I'm up here, they're down here. Mostly folks have heard of Frisco, McKinney, because that's a real growing area.
hmm.
But everything right here you can get to within 30, 45 minutes. So like you don't even know that you changed cities, right? Like I know used to live in Northern Virginia and you'd leave Ashburn and then there was nothing but trees and then you'd be in Reston. And then there's nothing but trees and then you're in Northern Virginia, like Alexandria. So everything kind of blends together down here.
One thing that you mentioned to me, and the reason I wanted to have you on was because to me, coming from being an NFL player, where leadership and team camaraderie and kind of I guess being on top and then maybe starting at the bottom, but leadership is and team playing is a really big part of your life from what we discussed. And I know that you kind of have your tentacles out into a lot of areas with that, and I wanted to discuss that with you.
Sure thing. Sure thing. At least on the leadership side, I know now I'm leaning more into it, and it is, kind of getting my broker's license is one thing, but it's kind of rethinking what the team dynamic looks like for me and how I'm running my business. So my team isn't necessarily having five agents underneath me, but it's like the interior designer, it's the photographer, it's the lender, it's the title company, it's the transaction coordinator. That's my team of people that help me, provide my service. So how I lead them, how I care on them, how I, take care of them and refer them business, things of that nature helps me do business as well. So that's kind of the dynamic that I've been operating on as of late. It's helped me be a little more productive. help me kind of leverage my skills and then also lean on some other small business professionals. You know what I mean? Because the real cool thing is that they eventually become buyers or sellers or renters. And then, when they run realtor that's been helping them out a lot, it tends to come back around.
One thing you did tell, I'm looking at my notes. You told me also that talking about leadership, that you are involved in a young men's leadership. And I wanted to know if you could talk about that a little bit, because that sounds like it's a really important part of who you are.
Well, I went to I spoke at the Salina Young Men's Leadership League up here in Salina, Texas, and I was speaking about learning to trust your intuition, speaking with your intuition. These were some high school freshmen, and they had kind of a rocky past couple of months, really year, just with their football program and just what's happened off the field over there. And so they needed to have kind of an uplifting word. And I was able to share something with them and just try to have them trust their intuition so they can make some good decisions going forward. But I know my thing is I kind of want to be able to leave a legacy uh, for my kids, and I know there's stuff that I can tell them now that they don't need until later, right? But that doesn't mean I can't share it and can't put it out there to the world. So if you want to improve, where things are going to go, you have to improve your environment. You got to improve the soil that you're working in and who you're talking to. So the young men, there's going to be a lot on their shoulders, and there's a lot to try to understand. And if they can know that they're heading into something with the right intention, with the right mindset, then yeah, you will probably be in a good place here in a couple of years. But as long as I know I'm saying what needs to be said, I feel confident that the message is going to land. So I just don't want to leave all that in me. You know what I mean? So let's share it. Let's help improve folks and improve situations, and that's how I like to approach life.
And that's probably why you do well with your business, is because that's how you approach your buyers and your sellers. Because we
Yeah,
talked about that. You said it's about a 60-40 split between buyers and sellers. Is that correct?
yeah, that's what it was last year,
Yeah.
and it
Okay.
it kind of fluctuates a little bit, but the seller side is one thing is there's generally a lot of stress with. Well, I should say number one, I want to create educated buyers and sellers, right? When I bought my house, my realtor was good, didn't have any problem with him, but when I got moved in, I was like, well, dang, I wish he would have made a bigger deal about this particular item, right? That doesn't mean I wouldn't have
Yeah.
bought the house. I would have just I would have been prepared for it, So whenever something comes up after the fact, I don't like them to call me and be like, Anthony, what's up with this? And I'll be like, oh, we missed that. I don't want to be that agent. I would rather be upfront. Like I just closed on a deal that has very noticeable foundation damage, but I was like, guys, they've gotten a quote. They're going to give you the money to get it fixed. Let's just make the offer that's going to help you make the home get put back together essentially, and then you can go forward and be confident with it. And they were happy with that process. So I'm not trying to pull anything over by anybody's eyes or anybody's heads. I just want them to know what they're getting into. So like on the selling side, uh, it's a stressful process. I mean, you got to pack and you got to declutter, and somebody's coming in to tell you that something's wrong with your house, and you need to change this and that. And they've been living there for however long, made a lot of memories. So you kind of have to respect that relationship. You got to respect that process, and ideally, I make that a smooth, seamless process on that side, and on the buyer side, try to remove the stress. Try to remove the stress. Try to go 20 miles an hour, make sure everybody's up to speed before we pick up a little bit from there. Definitely don't want to go 0 to 60. And I've found it to be successful. I've been successful in doing that, being able to over communicate. I use videos now. Like I'll sit on my computer and I'll go through the contract as I fill it out, and I say, "This is the sales price." And as I fill it out, like you would do in a training, that's how I do for my buyers and sellers. And I say, "Here's the offer, so you can see me break it down. Here's me looking at your property. Here's the comps on the screen. I sent you the information." So I want them to know what they're looking at and not just having to say, well, I just trusted Anthony to do it. Like, trust me, yes, but you're going to be able to see what we're working on.
Well, Anthony, it's clear you've got a lot of empathy and a real heart for other people. Like, where did that come from? How did you learn that?
Ooh, I guess, I mean, I've kind of always been in a caregiving position. So, my mom's working, and then it's me and my sister at the house. Sister has Down syndrome, so I got to get home to make sure I can greet her off of the bus. Sometimes you have to order pizza, take care of the family for a couple of hours just until mom gets home. So that's why home is big for me. I've always kind of wanted to be within a certain vicinity of the house just in case I got to get back over here. It's kind of a comfort thing, you know what I mean? But that's like when you look at the stats of the difference of what a family or what a kid growing up in a house that's a rental versus home ownership, it's astronomical. I mean, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but you can see the education levels are higher. Their wealth down the line is higher. But whenever folks kind of are always in a rental mode or always having to move, they generally find themselves in a pretty tough situation. So buying and selling a house, like looking online and you see all the posts and everybody's popping champagne and giving luxury bags. I'm like, dude, that's not even what it's about. Like you're trying to set somebody up for a strong future, and you want them to be successful in this property, not just so you can flash a bag and have a pretty big paycheck. I mean, the checks are good. Yes, we want to make the money. We want to do that, but for me to make sure it's worthwhile, I got to make sure I have a strong why behind it. So that's I want to make sure I'm connected. I want to make sure I'm earning that business, um, and they know they can trust me and they know I'm going to be there for them in the long haul.
Wow, that's powerful.
So one thing you said to me about the why, I wrote this down. You said your why behind the talk is more important than the where. And we were relating to that when you were saying that you're doing speaking engagements around the country. And with that, there's two things. You said that there's four things that you really talk about when you go around the country. And it's self-care for realtors, your transition or anyone's transition from sports to the real world, young men's leadership, which we talked about, and culture building and teams. So I know that's four things, but it's
Yeah.
really three because we talked about the young men's leadership. So can you talk about a little bit about the self-care for realtors? We talked a little bit about your transition from sports to the real world, if you want to elaborate on that a little bit. And
Yeah.
then the culture building in teams. I wouldn't mind you expanding on that a little bit, especially about the self-care for realtors, because I know
Sure.
that's really important for you.
Sure. So the self-care for realtors one, I got to shout out to Haley Kurth with that. She actually brought me in to come and speak at the Next Home Regional Conference that was happening last year. So that was pretty cool to put that together. It was actually like one of the first times I met some of my next homies from that Mansfield office. And every time they're like, "Are you real? You're a real person." I'm like, yes, I'm a real person. I'm not just a figment of your imagination or an avatar on the screen. But the premise just behind the self-care for realtors is just understanding that we have to take care of our bodies and take care of ourselves first and foremost to be able to serve. Right? You have to have a full vessel before you can pour into anybody else, and that requires putting some prioritization around taking care of you. I was given permission, and everybody listening, you have my permission to take a day off. Right? Take a day off. Damn it, turn your phone off. I tell my clients this: here's my phone number. You can call me any time of day, but I'm not open 24/7. You know what I mean? There's a certain time of day, like I don't need to take this call. It's not going to do us any good for you to call me at 10 o'clock at night. Just hit me up in the morning. And to learn to protect your boundaries in that. And that's something, I mean, I've worked on too, just protecting boundaries and, pushing back when people kind of press up against them. That's big for us. Mental health and the meditation, mixing that back into putting that back into my mix, being able to build up the dopamine and ahead of time because this is a stressful business. Working out is one thing that's huge. Obviously, you mentioned I'm a trainer. I've been doing that for over 10 years now with Camp Gladiator, and knowing that if you start your day with some fitness or moving around, it sets you up for less likely to lash out at somebody later on in the day. Essentially, I know that much. I ask people to take a day off, like schedule a day off, even if it's just a day where you're like, I'm gonna spend it not doing real estate or not taking any phone calls. Sit outside by the pool day. Just really focus on things that are going to refuel you and that are going to recharge you. And also on the flip side, having some awareness to realize what is draining you. Like I had a client that Kim knows all too well because she talked to her. That was just every time the name came across my phone, I just had this feeling of dread. I was just like, oh my gosh. I'm like, seriously. I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. So if whereas I did fire that client. If you don't have the opportunity to fire the client, you just have to have that much more uh, self-care and things to do on the front end to help prep you for that interaction. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
All too often, the grind culture says go, 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 and that's all well and good until you can't go no more. Until it all stops. And it ends up not being worth it at the end of the day when you have, the stress and the anxiety and the ulcers, and you're not feeling good because you don't take time to take care of yourself. So there's plenty of properties out here to sell. You're going to be okay, and frankly, your clients will be fine if you don't call them back until another hour. Take a moment, calm yourself down. I will say in 2024, I had a May that kind of everything came to a head, and I had two deals fall out in the same week. I hadn't had a deal close since that previous December. So all the money spent was already spent because this one was supposed to close and then it didn't close. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I was sitting in the parking lot crying because I was like, I don't know what I'm about to do. You know what I mean? I'm not sure what I'm going to do. And it was being driven to those moments where it forces you to slow down, right? It's the saying is you better pick a day to take off before your body takes a week for you. And that was kind of getting to that point. And the more I would slow down, the more I would add in practices of like meditation or like just some journaling at the end of the day, or just some on purpose silence and solitude. Finding what refills your cup, taking a walk, sitting outside by the pool, taking those moments. Very important. Very important. You mix those things in there.
I love about the boundaries. There's a book called Boundaries, which we probably all should read if you haven't read it yet. Um, like I have on my phone, my voicemail says my hours are from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. I'm an early riser. I would get up at 5 every day. So, I mean, if someone wants to call me at 5, I'll probably answer, and that's Eastern time. So, boundaries, I totally agree with you, are so important. Does anyone have any questions so far that they want to ask Anthony? Because I have more, but I just don't want to
Yeah.
interfere with possibly other questions if you want to unmute yourself and ask you.
Yeah, it's a rare opportunity to ask someone of his caliber anything.
Oh man, you're too nice, Chuck.
Well,
What's your
well, we
cash app?
really we've got a lot of respect and admiration for you, my friend.
Well, I appreciate it. I respect y'all too. I've seen y'all on Facebook. I love what y'all do and the community that y'all build over there. So, like I sit back. I will say that like comparison is a stealer of joy. I tell that much. Like you see everybody else out there, on social media, and it looks good. But then a lot of times you don't know the backstory, right? Like I told all my folks, my next homies, last year it was just like closing, closing, closing. They're like, this dude's a freaking rock star. He may not even be real. He's probably AI. He's just up there closing houses like crazy. And then, but like I tell you, like 2024, I'm like, that was a horrible year. 2023 was a horrible year. We're all going through it. And I think we have to be real about that. You know what I mean? Like I spent some of those years just calling some of the other agents. I'm like, how you doing? And they're like, oh, I'm good. I'm good. I'm like, no, no, no. I'm like, how are you really doing? And they're like, man, actually, no, your business has been tough, and then this, and then this, and like more of us are in those positions. We're kind of being real with ourselves, being real with each other. We all need to help each other through that. Right? We don't need to suffer in silence and try to look tough and go out and make more content so it looks like I'm doing business. And look, if it's certain, be real with it. And I want to be creative place and just be able to know that my number's there. You want to holler at me like Anthony, I want to talk for a bit. I got 15 minutes for you. You know what I mean? I want to be able to lend an ear because we're all trying to help people and push the rock uphill. We don't gotta out here and just get trampled. You know what I mean? So we gotta have a little backup.
One thing that you told me was that you don't pay for leads. And one thing that really resonated with me was that you said you have enough people in your phone. Don't fight for the stranger. Oh my God, that
That
was
was
just like,
when you said that to Pat on the phone. I was
oh.
it's like, ooh, let me get my pencil. That's gonna get
And
written down.
that was that was an amazing thing to say because we all are kind of, chasing the lead or, thinking that the best next thing is out there or whatever. But when you said, You have enough people in your phone and don't chase the stranger. And that is just, to me, that's kind of how we run our business.
Yes, that's been our
That's
philosophy.
been our
But
philosophy,
tell us a little bit
but tell
about
us
that.
about that.
Yeah.
Yes, I want to know more about that.
Well, initially, I mean, on the beginning, I spent on all types of leads. Like, frankly, like our office was in Allen, and then right when you get your license, somebody calls and they're like, "Hey, we have a zip code open, and matter of fact, it's your zip code." I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely right." And they're like, "Wow, your zip code, Allen, Texas, we got you." So I picked that zip code, or maybe it was by county, I don't know, but I didn't realize how far out it covered, right? I'm getting leads out in the country. I'm showing mobile homes. I'm driving in the woods. And I'm like, I don't want these leads, right? I'm spending all type of this money and I don't want these leads. Half of them are bad. Like I'm talking to this one lady. She's like, my boyfriend's cheating on me with the girl down at the Pizza Hut and we got a baby together and I need to find, and I'm like, do you want to buy or sell? Like, I don't, so I'm like, I don't want to chase all these strangers down. Right. And that was, and frankly, I got to the point where I'm like, I kind of have a aversion to cold calling. Some people beat me up about it. I don't care. Like, I don't like to cold call that much. That's just how I am. But I know I'm much better in person. Right. I know I'm much better when I can get face to face with somebody. I know I can build a good relationship. So when I say there's enough people in my phone, it doesn't mean that I got to have a whole bunch of people in my phone, but one of the programs I learned is like if you have a top 50 VIP list, 50 people that you think will give your name out if somebody's buying or selling or even renting. I'm like, I'd rather love on them, right? I'd rather call them same 50 people, and if they just send up a couple of them give me some business and it just kind of rolls from there. They trust me enough to pass my name to somebody else and it rolls from there. I stopped trying to chase the people that were leaving. I was like, let me trace the people that are already here and that like me and they love me and they'll pass my information along. So then when that referral comes, that triangle of trust that they talk about, it's already strong. They're like, oh, you know him? Yeah. Oh yeah, he's good people. Cool, let's go. I need to buy a house. Yeah, and that's kind of how I focused on doing things. And you still have to call some new people from time to time. And yes, I still, will cold call from time to time to just refill the bucket. I use my mental mind works in like three buckets and timelines. 0 to 3 months of when they want to basically 0 to 3 months to start looking. Because if you start looking with me, you're ready to buy. Like it's not like we want to buy in December, but can we look now? I'll be like, here's open houses and here's Zillow, and you can click on my link. That's going to be your best bet. I'm not going to go and show you something right now because you're too far out. Now then I have folks that are in the middle, 4 to 6 months, maybe up to 9 months, and then longer. So if they're long term, I'd like to put them in something that, just a long-term communication, drip on them, stay in touch a little bit. But essentially, I need to focus on the ones who are right here, right there in front of me. And, excuse me, talking to the people that are in my phone that know and like me, they tend to refer me people that are ready to get going, and it's worked out well for me. I would seriously think most of y'all can look through your phone. You're probably looking right now, going, who could I call? Like if somebody's already giving you a referral, they got to be on your referral list, on your top VIP. Like love on that person. Love on that person like it's your mama. You know what I mean? If you don't like your mama, love them like it's your cousin. I don't know, but take care of that person. And you don't have to necessarily beg or hey, send me some business. They know what you do, but just take care of them, right? And more value you bring, the more value I like to bring, then I tend to get more referrals from it, and I feel more fulfilled behind it.
So let's get back to those top 50 for a minute.
Sure.
What sort of things do you do to love on these people?
Birthday cards were always a staple of mine. You've heard about folks putting in the dollar scratch offs. Sometimes just sending the birthday card it separates you from everybody else. From the fact that a lot of times we just see it on Facebook and we quickly just hit the auto correct or auto fill. Happy birthday, happy birthday. It's like you've never used that cake emoji before, Chuck. You've never used that thing before. All of a sudden, it's all over my page. But no, it's like just taking that little extra step. You know what I mean? Just did that one little extra step. Like every other realtor's call, hey, anybody that's trying to buy or sell? Yeah, yeah, sure, I'll let you know. Like, all right, cool. I asked 10 times. But this guy sent me a birthday card. Andy called me. All right. I kind of like him a little bit more. Remembering anniversaries. I've called one time. I called a former seller. Oh, he's still a client, but I called him. I says, "Hey, it's a happy anniversary. Your anniversary's coming." He's like, "Oh crap, cake. Let me call you back." And he's like, he had to go and schedule some. What he had to do? He had to get some reservations for dinner. We called one client. I'm like, "Hey, it's Lacey's birthday, right?" And he's like, "Oh crap!" And I ordered some flowers real quick to help fill in for him. So like, just finding ways to just jump in life that really aren't connected to real estate has been more impactful. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, this is just how I feel about it. And I almost got in an argument with somebody. But it's like, I feel like people know what I do. And then the conversation gets it. Like, are you still in real estate? Yeah, I'm still in real estate. Yeah, yeah, we're doing this. But I don't always beat people over the head with it. You know what I mean? That's my personal approach.
I
Well,
love that.
when we talked, you talked about that you have a VIP CRM and
Mhm.
that you do follow up monthly. And you also wrote that you use the kind of the Ford script. I mean, it's not like,
Yeah.
family, occupation, recreation,
It
um,
is. It is to
you
the
know,
T. It
you know what I'm
is.
saying? But it's not like tell me about your family. What do you do for occupation? It's not,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a very smooth conversation for you.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. I mean,
Yeah.
if you know these people, you're gonna say, how's your son? How's Theo? How is Apollo? You're gonna say them by name, right? And if you've taken notes, you'll remember from prior. The cool thing that I've done, my transaction coordinator helps with it, is that she put a all about you form inside of the representation documents.
Mm.
So whenever she sends out the packet to get the rep document signed, there's also a form that says, "Hey, tell me a little bit about you. Tell me about your family." So then I can go and do some research and be like, okay, this is this person's birthday, or they like this, or they like that. And so if I'm gifting some things, I can gift accordingly. Or if I'm talking to them, I can know some information about the kids, and you just kind of keep some notes as you go along. Big thing I've been doing now, all them popcorn fund date foundation things, shoot, donate to it, man. Just give $50 to that kid. It'll help you. You'll be in that person, in the forefront of that person's in that person's mind. I'm leaning more on my brokerage tool to kind of stay in touch with people. We're trying to get a little more strategic that way, but everything has been about more personal touches. I'd rather make 10 phone calls to my friends and find out how they're doing in their day, and then find out how I can help them whatever they're trying to achieve. And then the business tends to come back around to me.
Do you keep in touch with your former NFL friends?
A few, a
A few.
few, a
Okay.
few. Yeah. It's like I didn't keep a whole bunch of phone numbers then, but now you kind of reconnect with folks. And now I do a podcast. That's kind of why all the stuff is behind me. I do a couple of podcasts that cover the Commanders. Believe in Commanders is one. That's on all the streaming platforms. And then I'm also doing Locked On Podcast Network on the Commander Squad show twice a week. So that's been very fun to dip
Could
back
could you repeat
into.
those, please? I'll put them in
Yeah,
the
sure.
the chat so
But
people can look you up.
yeah, I'll type the one. Believe in Commanders is
Okay, great. Thank you,
BLEAV.
sir.
And then the other one is Locked On Commanders. Most folks may have heard that one, that podcast network, but it's the Commanders Squad. So you can hear me talk about football. But I used to not let these things, mesh, right? I was like, people don't want their realtor to be talking about football. But every time I'd meet my client, they'd be like, "So you play football?" And I was like, I did, yes, I did. So I just kind of had to let these things breathe together. Like even with the
People
personal
want to
training.
know.
Yeah, they
Yeah, I
want to
mean,
know
this
more
is
about
America's
me.
favorite sport.
Exactly. So between that, or like even the training side of stuff, I was much more vulnerable out there at camps. And when I'm talking to people, I'm like, back in 2024, I'm like, guys, I had two deals that just went away. And this is frustrating. This is sad. And I've gotten business from there as well. And literally don't go in there trying to sell anybody anything. But they're like, "Hey, Anthony, I've seen you 3 days a week at 5 a.m. I trust you. Hey, can you help me buy a house?" Yeah, I absolutely will. And then I'll see you next week for these burpees and the push-ups that you're about to do. So it just, being a good person has worked out for me. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to be a solid individual everywhere you go, then you got a chance to get business everywhere you go. You know what I mean? Like this is in-person business, and frankly, just find a strategic way to get in front of people. That's how I like to operate.
Sounds like your whole strategy is just going out and making friends and being a good friend.
Yeah, yeah. I guess if you break it down that simply, yeah, just go be somebody's friend. And it's like I'm not trying to always go and make new friends with everybody. It just kind of happens. Just have good vibes, bring the good vibes. And this is so not scientific. Like if everybody's looking for, hey man, you're supposed to have 72 calls a day. I can't say that. I can't say that. I can't say that's how it goes because the way my mind works, y'all may be thinking you can kind of tell. I don't really like to sit down that much. I got to be moving around, you
Mhm.
know. If I'm sitting here behind the wall, it's not fun to call people and then get hung up on and it's, fake numbers and wrong numbers. Like, man, I'd rather go and let me go lean like let me think about this. All these charity events, like Thursday, I'll be at a charity event. I'm modeling a handbag. All right. So this is for City House. It's in Plano, Texas, and they help house youth that have been separated from their homes in pretty rough fashion, right? Like think of like police having to come in and separate type of situations. So pretty bad situations, a lot of homeless youth, things of that nature. So I'm I'm working this handbag thing for that. But like they know I'm a realtor in there. So like you can build relationships while you're in that space. You get what I'm saying? Like being a realtor is like a hat you wear, but they want to buy from who you are. They want to buy from you. You know what I'm saying? So if you're a firefighter, they'd be like, I want Chuck to come and put my house out. You know what I mean? They're gonna call Chuck for that. You put on the realtor hat, they'd be like, I like Chuck. Hey, Chuck, can you help me buy or sell a property? You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. I want to be a good person, period, bring value all the time. And then, when you need me for the real estate, you'll call me.
I know you're involved with Camp Gladiator. Is that around the country, Camp Gladiator, or is it
Yeah.
just Texas?
No, it's all over the country.
Okay.
It is adult outdoor fitness.
Okay.
Is campgladiator.com. It should be out there in your way as well. I'm over pulling up a website, but it may be out there in Tampa. Atlanta was a state we were in. So it is nationwide, but it also is virtual. And yeah, that's a good one. Like I say, as a realtor, hey, you go find a class to show up with. And if it's got pretty good attendance, I guess it doesn't have to have great attendance, but if you get four or five of the same people there, you're going to see four or five same people with the same drive, with the same focus, with the same goals. And then they'll realize, and then eventually the conversation is going to come up. Oh, I'm in real estate. Oh, okay, that's what's up. And then now you're building a relationship with that person. So in that same 50 VIP, that coaching program, they talk about face to face is being a big thing. I had to start counting those as face to faces. Like I'm seeing people, like they know what I do, talk about real estate a little bit while you're working out. You build a different level of trust when you're sweating together. You know what I mean? Like it's something about it. We're like, yeah, I can trust this. One of my title reps, he came and played basketball with me one day. I was like, you want to get my business? Meet me at 9:15 at the gym. And here he came. He was laced up. And we played like 3 games of basketball because if I would have played four, I would have pulled a hammy. So we played 3 games of basketball. And I was like, you know what, Ray, I can work with you. You know what I mean? So I don't know. There's something about it. Try it out. Go find yourself a group fitness class, agents. Go join it. Be a part of it. And then there you go. You'll be immediately in front of 10 new leads.
That's that whole
And
self-care
you're gonna
thing
get in
again.
shape. And
Yeah,
yeah,
two birds,
right.
one stone.
Two birds, one stone, 10 leads. You'll be the like if you're just the realtor for wherever you are, like that's kind of how I go. Like, I just want to be the guy that people think about when I'm in this space. When I'm at the park after school with my kids, I tell them parents kind of slowly, hey, I'm in real estate. All right, cool. So then by the time they need my help, they'll call me because they've seen me every single day after school.
So I'm going to put Corey Cook on the spot here. Corey, I know you do.
Oh, crap.
I
Okay.
know that's all right. We love you. Bikers, for bullies. Is that the name of it?
Against
Bikers Against
I'm
Bullies.
again.
sorry,
Yeah,
bikers
We
they're
against
don't promote we
they're
don't
actually
promote
against
bullying.
that.
No, no.
against bullies. I'm sorry. But how does that work for you? Because we never really talked about it. I know this is about Anthony, but it's kind of streaming into, getting out there and joining more places for that people to think about what they can do to get more
And
business
doing good.
and doing well at it. Yeah.
Yeah, our situation's quite different because we're doing assemblies for grade school kids and middle school children. So I'm meeting the principals and I'm meeting the school resource officers and I do get feedback from the parents on the backside of the assembly, but um, it hasn't, other than my the other bikers that I hang around with that are doing this, we're completely volunteer. We don't get paid. Every penny that we get goes to the children. And I met a lot of really good biker buddies through it. And that's speaking to Anthony's point. It's the brotherhood per se that we all have the same drive, we all have the same goal, the same give, and that's helped on my side quite a bit.
Yeah, I could see them being like there's probably somebody who's just like always, throwing your name out there.
Mhm.
And frankly, like I'd rather have that person than have the one family that's moved. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like,
Right.
oh man, I helped that family. They were such a good job, but they're gone. So they don't get to tell anybody else that's here. You know
Right.
what I mean? You're like, dang it. So that's what reviews are for. But there's still something about, one person that's like, oh yeah, you gotta go talk to Corey.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I've been
Corey's
with
the
these
guy.
guys for, now 4 years, and it's a true brotherhood. It's not all men. There's women involved as well, but there's a real camaraderie and trust
Right.
there, and you'd never realize that such a big gruff biker would have the biggest heart on the planet. It's really neat to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I'm
awesome.
glad you're doing that.
Thank you.
One other thing you mentioned to me was that we wanted to talk about some facing challenges. And you mentioned about working on weak points in your business. Like one weak point we talked about was that everyone should be looking at the monthly numbers. But do you have any other weak points that people really need to be looking
There
at?
you go. You put me on the spot. This was not in the agreement that you was. No, working on the weak points, man. They all. I mean, they vary. It's just going to depend on the person, right? It's going to depend on the person. So, like, if it was getting in front of people is your weak point, and it's like you probably need to start getting in front of people or finding ways to make yourself a little bit uncomfortable to improve at that. But it all comes from the premise of playing in the NFL where when you're in the league, they are going to kind of like Denzel Washington, remember the Titan, where it's like Novocaine, it's gonna work. We're gonna do the same thing and it's gonna work. In the league, if they find you have a weak point, they're going to take advantage of it until you fix it. Like on offense, we're gonna run the same play, we're gonna run that same power, we're gonna go to the same guy until he can stop us. And when you have your challenges, that same challenge is going to keep knocking you in the head until you duck, right? Or until you take it, whatever it is hitting you in the head down, you address it specifically. And on the phone, we mentioned like the financial side, tracking the numbers, exactly knowing, are you saving for taxes, right? When I first got into this thing, I didn't know nothing about the taxes. They didn't put that in the flip show. All they did was buy the house, flip it, and sell it. They didn't say set aside, X amount for taxes so you can pay on it. I was like, oh, I'm learning that on the go. CPA's like, hey, you're supposed to have been doing that. I'm like, well, if I don't sell anything, how am I supposed to set? So it took me a little while to kind of get it through my skull, but we're good now. We're on the right track. And I've noticed that I've handled that a little bit better. Now I can get a little bit more on my plate. That's how the world works. You take care of your business and you're able to handle a little bit more. You're not going to get blessed with more than you can handle. And if you do, it's just going to fall through the cracks. So you might as well fill up the holes. You might as well slowly find a way to fill up the holes. So everybody's going to have some sort of challenge in their business. And I don't think that everybody has to do their business the same way, right? Like if you feel like, oh, I'm not cold calling, I'm not door knocking. I don't knock on doors. I mean, I told you on the phone, I live in Texas. All right. I live in Texas. I don't knock on doors. All right. We friendly down here, but I ain't knocking on doors. So I'd rather do it another way.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not going to beat myself up and be like, well, my business isn't going to be successful because I don't knock on doors. No, that's just not how I choose to do business. So figure out where your weak point is, and you have to be real with yourself about it. You don't got to go post on Facebook and tell everybody, but you got to be real with yourself and say, I'm lacking in this area, right? It's a personal thing because like when I used to train virtually, we would tell people to go on a run. So go run down, around the house and come back. A lot of times folks would just sneak off camera and then they'd come back and be like, I'm like, see, but then you can't complain about not getting in shape when you ain't even doing the work. You know what I mean? You can't complain about not improving your cardio and all you've been doing is sneaking off the camera. So it's a very personal thing that you got to be real with yourself about.
I can't believe it. People actually do that?
I was appalled, Chuck. I was like, I
Oh,
know I had to yell. I was like, get off the screen. I can see your shadow. I can see
oh,
your shadow.
oh.
Go down the hall,
Oh
something.
my God.
I'm gonna just make you do burpees the whole time. So
Mm.
yeah, you just gotta address it. You gotta face it.
Um, One thing you also said was that you did hire a transaction coordinator a few years ago, and how has that impacted your business?
I done forgot how to fill out some paperwork, but no, it's been an absolute. It's been the best thing I could have done.
Okay.
And they're right. They always hear and they say that's like the first hire you need to bring in, and it's true. And it's not because, you can't fill out the paperwork. It's for doing high dollar activities, right? So would you rather be filling, yes, you'd rather be filling out a contract or would you rather be filling out a representation document because you're getting a client? But how good does it feel for me to fill out on the website and say, boom, 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 hey, can you do this? I see you, Jennifer. You hop in and you do this, and then somebody else is going to fill out the paperwork. So then I can go on and I can show another client, or I could go on a listing appointment instead of having to fill out paperwork for those 2 hours. My transaction coordinator, shout out to Brianna, she goes from representation document all the way to making sure I get credit in the MLS. So when I tell you I don't know how to fill something out now, it's kind of like that. I can still do it from time to time. It just takes me a little while. But no, Bree's been great. And it just helps me leverage. And she was an office manager, so she knows what we're looking for. She knows, if something's not filled out right, she'll catch it when the other agent sends it in. She's like, hey, they sent us the seller's disclosure. It doesn't have the seller's signature on it. So I'm going to send it back to them first before we do it. You know what I mean? So she catches some stuff and I'm like, awesome, great, thank you. And it's been a great, teamwork, great bit of marriage in this instance. And it's just all about leveraging that time for you and putting yourself in a better position. Right? Like I said, I'd rather be talking with somebody to help generate business that way. My best value is not sitting here trying to fill out paperwork.
Yeah, that's a really good point to make because business is not here where we're sitting. Business probably is not where you're sitting. Business is out in the world where we should be shaking hands and having coffee with people and meeting people. Is that,
Yeah,
yeah, I can
yeah.
understand that.
But then think like if you meet somebody, you meet a new person in a coffee shop, and then they're like, all right, yeah, let's work together. And you're like, okay, cool. I'm gonna have my assistant send you the paperwork, and then while you're in there in the coffee shop, you can fill it out, and then you're like, that's done off my head, right? I don't have to think about doing it when I get home. 2 hours later, after I put the kids down, I fell asleep, something else and got put in my way, and I forget to do it. Like I can make sure that's delegated out. And that was a big thing, talking about leadership, learning to delegate, right? Giving some things away. Frankly, guys, the paperwork is a whole bunch of blanks. Like we're not writing a new manuscript. You know what I mean? Like we're picking the information that we got to put in there, and we're just telling somebody to put it in there. So if you have a way of doing it, it's still just going to be the same information. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. So, Anthony, if I were a brand new agent, you just had a few minutes to just tell me one thing, what would your advice be?
Don't be afraid to ask for help, and don't be afraid to say you don't know, because frankly, we all don't know everything. Um, and if you're able to ask for help, then you're going to get those answers. Found that people trust you whenever you say you don't know. And you say, I'm going to get the answer for you, and then you do it, then they're even happier than you sit here trying to BS your way around it and to act like you know everything because you don't. You don't. They're going to ask you, is that linoleum or is that quartz? And you're like, I don't know. Like just trust it. You'll be fine. Um, don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't try to do this thing by yourself because it leads you up. It leads you up if you try to. So ask for help. That'd be my first thing.
What great advice.
Does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask Anthony before we
We have 2 minutes.
get off the call? You want to unmute yourselves or anything? Sean,
I
you have a
do. I
question?
have a question.
All right, let's hear it.
Well, if I can find I can't find I don't know why my screen's not working, but anyway, um, Anthony has 4 kids.
Yes.
So he does all of this and he is like this super dad. How do you do all that?
Well, I can tell you that thing that in the very beginning, when you first get in, they call it time blocking. And at first I was like, I was freaking out. I was like, I don't know what to do in that time. I don't know what I'm going to be doing later on at that point. Now I have to really, prioritize that time blocking, move things around to match schedules. Like my prime spot is 11 to 2. Right now, all the kids are gone. So between 11 and 2, I can do deep dives into, you know, into work, into phone calls, into doing what needs to be done. But then outside of that, my focus is to make sure I'm taking care of the kids and I'm present for them. Uh, and it took a little while to try to get to be comfortable doing that because you feel obligated to work from 9 to 5, right? Or work this whole time. But it wasn't feasible. And my kids didn't deserve to just see me sitting here behind the computer hating trying to call people. I'm like, I can like some of the business, the emails, there's no time stamp on them unless it's a transaction and there's time is of the essence and your option ends at 5 o'clock. There's nothing that says you can't answer an email at 5 a.m., 5 p.m., 11 o'clock p.m. Um, I try to put everything into buckets, right? So I know that during this time frame, I gotta do higher value things. I don't want to waste a lot of time doing emails. But I know when 3 o'clock hits, I gotta get out of here. I gotta go pick up these kids. So just staying really structured, Kim. That's been what it is. It isn't easy, but I did learn on all these like TikToks and Reels, I can hire these little suckers and I can pay them through my IRAs and stuff like that. So as soon as they can start putting stamps on envelopes, bring my birthday card business back into play, right? So just starting to learn to help them leverage and see kind of how to work. So I'm using it all as a learning lesson. I'm learning as I go, Kim. I'm learning as I go.
Well, I love that I see you do like really great kid activities with your kids and you're still doing a great business and you're just doing all the right things. So
I appreciate it.
I am super proud of you.
Thank you very much. I used to not want to post my kids all the time, but I like people like my kids. So, hey, why not create that content?
Absolutely.
Like I don't know. I've kind of gotten away from beating people up with the real estate content all the time because there's so many of us that do a great job at selling that, and they're gonna ask AI anyways. So here's a picture of my kids, and they're like, "Wow, I like Anthony. Hey, will you help me buy or sell a house?" It just happens that way, guys. It just happens.
Mhm.
Or your garden. Oh my
Oh, my
God.
garden. You
Your
like that?
garden is awesome. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so when I first got into that, it was I go all the way back to college. I took a career placement exam and it said entrepreneur and farmer. And I just was like, I ain't believe that. Ain't no way I'm being a damn farmer. No way. Right. And then I took it again because I thought it was broken. And then it said farmer and entrepreneur. I was like, okay, all right. I didn't think anything of it. But then fast forward to now, I do have a garden in the backyard. I got some bell peppers and cherry tomatoes and some lettuce going, strawberry patches coming back looking all nice. I got all these seeds and stuff, but an entrepreneur and a farmer, they're the same thing. One's in a suit, one's in overalls, and it's all about improving your soil and improving your environment. So
Love that.
the same thing in real estate, right? Wherever you at, you want to generate business, just improve that soil that you're in, improve the people that you're around, bring value to them, and then you'll end up getting business on the back end of it. So, yeah, I'm a farmer.
Wow, what a great final comment. Well, I can't believe it's been an hour already. Anthony, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been great, and we really appreciate your wisdom and I know I got a lot out of it. So thank you again. This is a real estate focus group. We meet here on Tuesdays, although this time it's Wednesday, but Tuesdays every other week at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. If you're on Facebook, join our Facebook group. The if I can
The
say it.
real estate focus group.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say, and I was choking. But thanks for joining us today. And I put the information for Anthony in the chat. I know that if you got anybody moving out to Texas, I know someone that can take a real good care of them.
We got the whole DFW covered too.
Very nice. So thank you again and have a wonderful day. Bye bye.